Hey everybody, I'm Kenny and this is Sagebrush Soul. I'm an announcer for Live a Little Entertainment Group and we do all types of motorsports, but mostly monster trucks. In this series, I'll be making my 2002 Tahoe into an over-the-road vehicle modeled after an Overland vehicle for the many days of the year I'm out on the road. Welcome to Tahoe Tuesday. Today we're making some window inserts for ventilation. Now that we got the interior pretty well cleaned up, we're going to get into something a little bit more fun and custom. This is the ventilation stuff. I actually already built a couple of these, and right after I sold the Tahoe to Tiny, he's like, hey, do you want these? And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to need them anymore. So I got to build them again. But this is going to let us get a little bit of airflow. We can still be stealthy with it and also allow some air to come in, and it's remarkably secure. I was really surprised when I had these before, but we're going to use some 1/4-inch plywood and build some inserts for the back windows that we'll be able to put screens in so you can kind of have the windows up and down all at the same time. We're going to reinforce them and we'll tell you a little bit about that, but first we got to build a pattern for the back windows, and this takes some patience. I took a piece of cardboard, I put it in the window, rolled the window all the way down. That's where I start my lines. It just takes a little while. I think I'm about an hour into making the pattern. Once you get one done, you don't have to do any more. Hopefully, I don't know how many we're gonna get out of a 2-foot by 4-foot sheet of this 1/4-inch ply, but hopefully at least 3, because I got some ideas that we might be doing for air conditioning down the road. But right now, I just wanna get a little cross flow of air, let air come in, keep bugs out, and again, remarkably secure, because we're gonna reinforce them a little bit, and you know me, we're gonna make them look pretty cool when we get done. Now that we have our pattern made, I'm gonna trace these things out on the 2-foot by 4-foot, and honestly, I don't know if we're gonna get 3 out of these. So I'm gonna make sure and save the pattern in case I do wind up doing the other thing, but right now we're just basically making it so that we can get some air in. We may add an electric fan to one of these, maybe not. Anyway, we're gonna trace these out now on the plywood. So I got my pattern down. Why it's starting to rain. I've got a 10,000 foot shop, but there's a little bit of light out here and the lighting is better. But on this side, I'm gonna go super close, super tight in here, because that I know is pretty much on the money. So I'm putting the felt part of the Sharpie right against the cardboard as I draw it out. And then this one, I'm gonna go a little bit fatter. So I'm gonna kind of use, oh boy, kind of use the barrel of the Sharpie to extend that line a little bit and add maybe an 1/8 overall. And then another part that's gonna require a lot of patience is just the sanding that it's gonna take to get a nice fit in here. So there's one. Actually, I'm gonna flip that pattern over so the opposite side is on the same side of the wood. If you want wood grain, I'll go ahead and tell you right now, we're gonna fiberglass this, and if you fiberglass it, it actually will retain the wood grain in there, and it looks pretty good, but we're not gonna retain that. We're gonna do paint on this, but now I'm gonna be able to show you a little bit better. This is the inside. I wanna go tight, so this is the window side. I know that that's pretty well lined up. And again, we're probably gonna have to take a little bit off this just for ease of installation. Cross that bridge when we come to it, but I did on the last one, just to be able to get it in there, and then we'll fill it with some soft something or other to block it. So I'm using this part of the Sharpie against the cardboard to go a little bit wider. This one I know is pretty darn close and will fit in there, so I'm gonna make that line a little bit more gradual. Hopefully you can see that okay. So hard. get a good visual. But now we've got both of our patterns drawn out here. Now we're gonna cut them out, and I don't know why I thought I could get 3 out of this, but I'll probably wind up making a total of 4 of them. This stuff's about 20 bucks for this size sheet, and yes, I could have bought a full sheet, but I've been years getting rid of the scrap that I made the first ones out of, so it's worth it for me to not have the waste and just spend a little extra money and get the smaller piece. So we're gonna cut these out now. Gonna start off and make a rough cut with the old jigsaw. Not a lot of woodworking tools here at the bus shop, so brought these from home, but I'm gonna do the basic cut, separate the 2 halves of the board with the jigsaw. Then I'm going to move to the scroll saw, get a little bit tighter cut, and I know I didn't have that when I built the first one, so that'll be better. And I'm pretty sure I didn't have my belt sander, but we're going to fine tune them with the belt sander. Yeah, for the first rough cut we're going to use the jigsaw. Alrighty, so looks like we should add quite a bit to be able to do what we want, but that's the basics right there. Then I'm going to jump on the scroll saw. I'll show you a little bit of that, but I know they're great, but I'm not very good at it yet, so we'll just drag that thing out, and I'm just doing this all until I get in my pickup for some reason. But we'll make the finer cuts, and then we'll fine tune it with the belt sander. All right, we got the basic shape cut out. Now we're gonna go see how it fits. And as far as the scroll saw goes, it's obviously not an expensive one, and I've only used it 4 or 5 times. I always wanted one, but I didn't go expensive on the first one, and it's probably showing. But I haven't used it near as much as I thought I did, but it definitely was easier to do this. We're gonna go see how it fits as is, just with the saw, and then we'll work it down a little bit with the belt sander. Well, it's late, and later. And we got her pretty well cut out. You can see this is almost ready, but as I said, this is a little too long. The window's all the way rolled down right now, so there's gonna be some adjustment. I wanna get this right first, because you can see this line is a little weird. Well, while you're here, probably gonna try to take it out of here. We'll adjust it a little bit. I got a busy day tomorrow here in the shop. We've got a monster truck show this weekend, so I gotta go rack in, take a shower. It's hot. It started raining outside, 0% chance. Welcome to Idaho. And you see me in a different shirt, possibly a different hat. It's probably several days later. So I got these things all cleaned up now. We're gonna do a little bit of a bevel on them right now. Got my, I don't know what angle it is, but I just want a little bit of roundness on the side. Maybe it'll look cool. Let's find out. Getting ready to mix the fiberglass resin, and it's just the stuff you can get at the parts stores or even the big box hardware stores. So It's 10 drops of hardener to 1 ounce of the resin. So we're gonna mix that right now. I'm gonna go with 3 ounces for this. I think that should be enough. So 30 drops of hardener for 3 ounces of resin. The stuff I'm using is pretty old, but this is a budget build. So we're just gonna put 1 sheet fiberglass on 1 surface of the plywood. I don't see any reason to do the inside of it other than a uniform finish, but I already got the chop mat cut and laid it over. It should be pretty good. So we're gonna put down the resin first and then lay the chop mat over the top of it, adjust it a little bit, then we're gonna sit and work the bubbles. I'm gonna let it cure overnight, and then once it's hard tomorrow or the next day, I'll wash it with water because it puts off a waterborne residue before I sand it, because I don't want to sand that stuff in. Then I'll probably put another coat of the resin on. Well, it's the next day, and fiberglass and resin set up pretty nice, except very lumpy, which is pretty typical of anything I've ever done with fiberglass. You can see I've sanded it down, and I kind of burned through trying to decide whether to patch it. It really isn't gonna hurt the integrity of the strength, which is why I'm adding the fiberglass cloth to it. So I think as long as it stays waterproof, I'm not gonna worry about it too much, but in hindsight, next time, I don't think I'll sand it quite as much. I am gonna put another layer of resin on it, but I think that when I sand that, I'll sand it a little lighter, and also when I do the other one, a little less sanding, and I'm gonna hit it with the urethane primer. You could do it out of a rattle can primer as well. Use that to smooth it more than trying to get the fiberglass perfect. But I've at least got enough tooth in it now that I can go ahead and start trimming off the excess fiberglass, which I'll take out of the holes and off the edges, get that lined out a little bit better. Then I'll put another coat of resin on, let that dry, go from there, and then we're gonna work on the rings. Gonna leave probably enough to try to fold it around. I may need to cut some stress points in here. I have a pretty healthy coat of fiberglass, and it's not like this is gonna be outside all the time or submerged. Just looking for that little bit of extra protection. So even if I just get a coating of it on the edges of the wood, with just the resin by itself, it should help exponentially on that. Went ahead and trimmed that all off, sanded it down, and no, I was not able to wrap it around the edges. But again, for my purposes, not gonna be submerged, rarely gonna see weather. It's mostly for that little bit of extra strength of somebody trying to break in. I firmly believe with that added surface protection, that it would be easier to break the glass than it would be to knock this thing in. So we're gonna go with that. I got the rings all prepped, and I was gonna try to put some fiberglass on those, but I think we'll just do the resin. That should work. Here again, honestly, if you build this, a rattle can, several coats of a rattle can, or even an exterior house paint would probably be fine. I'm just going the extra mile, giving as many options as I can, and I want that little bit of extra protection from having the fiberglass on the surface of that. So we're just gonna go ahead and do the rings with straight resin. I'm gonna put the second coat of resin on there, try to get everything sealed up as good as I can, and then we'll get it painted. So that was really weird. It is hot. I don't think it's any hotter than it was last night when I was doing this, but that stuff completely kicked on me mid-pour. So I'm gonna mix another batch, and I don't know, I guess I'll slow it down a little bit with the hardener. I don't know if you can get away with that on this stuff. It's the only thing I know to do, but it didn't lay down very good. That's gonna require a lot of sanding. So I guess we'll try that and see what happens. All right, well, that was interesting. So I'll just show you really quick what went on. So this, I dropped it down, so I did 4 ounces, and I did 30 drops. On this one, it gave me enough time to work with it, but you can see it's still kind of kicked up. It wasn't that much cooler last night when I did the first coat with fiberglass. I'm not 100% sure what the major difference is. I think it's the same can, the same hardener. I think it's all the same stuff. So like I said, it was old, but now I'm gonna wind up doing a lot of hand shaping on the rings. And just to tell you, the thinner it is, the better it's gonna penetrate, but the reality of it is, like, it's mostly sitting on the top now, so it's stuck to it well, but to truly get it to penetrate or impregnate, and I know how inappropriate that sounds, but I'm just talking about getting it into the wood. That was worse. But you would actually have to have some sort of a vacuum to actually permeate. Let's try that into the wood grain, but I think we're off to a pretty good start here. Well, what? That's the Warhead Mini Monster Truck. Tell him, Mike. Mike? Mike! This is usually the part that he shows up in the video. Guess I gotta do it. Yo, stop whatever you're doing right now. I don't care if you're pooping, you're eating, you're doing your girlfriend's fingernails. Stop what you're doing. Go to Insta, find Warhead Monster. Like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends and follow. And you know what? Make sure and find us on YouTube, Warhead Monster. Subscribe, like, ring that bell, because guess what? We're building Warhead XL. Big, full-size version of the Mini Monster. Do it now. I am so sorry about that. So this is 320 grit, and I'm just gonna sand most of this off to fill in the imperfections, and then we'll hit it with 2 more coats. This is not gonna be a show car kind of thing, but you could continue to do this till all the gaps and divots and things like that are full. But I'm just gonna go down and then hit it with 2 more heavy coats, and then we'll sand it with 600 fine before we paint it. So I actually didn't wind up doing that all by hand. I used the orbital sander on it, but you can see all those little areas that are filled in. We did get back down to the fiberglass resin a little bit, but it's gonna make it much nicer overall. And we are going to go ahead and shoot it with 2 more pretty thick coats of primer, and then we'll hit it with the 600 grit. I don't know if that's gonna happen tonight. I'm running out of daylight, but yeah, then we'll be ready for paint. Did it again. I shot the vents this morning with an automotive silver. I didn't have time to film it. Then I also was able to get a couple of clear coats on it, and it looked pretty good. And I tried not to airbrush it, but I just wanted to do an effect on it. I was gonna do it rusty, make it look like metal, but I wound up just doing a little black, so that was good. I stuck to one color to kind of go for that spaceship vibe, but if it was gonna be stealthy, it's not now. I gotta put the final coat of clear on it, and then we'll be ready to do the screens. This had a couple of days to cure now, so it's should be plenty durable for what we need to do. Now I'm going to take these and apply the screen to them, and then this I'm going to mask off now, and the back of it's just going to get a complementary rattle can color of just spray paint on the back that'll be complementary to the interior. It should be all it needs. So thinking about it again now, I think I'll try to move this all over a little bit and then just cut it back on here. Hopefully that'll leave me enough to finish that off, and then I'll find something else for right here. I gotta still figure out something for here, and that's pretty close, but for the most part it's pretty good. It's easier to get in now, and I'll come up with something. I even thought about making a magnetic piece. I think I will do that on the other side. I'll actually cut that section off and make something little magnet on, because you got to have a little up and down movement to be able to get this thing in and out. But yeah, I'll figure something out. But now I can crimp this on because I'm comfortable with where that's at. And for now we're going to call it done, but on the final walkthrough we'll show you what I came up with for that. But that's how you get your ventilation.
We're just about finished editing and realized that I didn't shoot a wrap up for the video, and I realized also that I didn't show you the installation process, and it's super simple. I'll show you. Yeah, pretty simple. Quite a bit more to it than that, obviously. But it works pretty good. It's just a matter of stuffing it up in there, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes. There again, it's really pretty secure. I guess you could sneak down in it like that, but I'm not gonna be leaving the vehicle for very long with those in. So it's more for me. Like if somebody's trying to get in and I'm in there, I can get to the goods and take care of the problem before anybody can get to me. So that's the biggest reason I like it. I've got another blank cut already. I wanna experiment with the potential of putting a wall mount AC unit and ducting it into this. I just haven't decided if I need that or not. I've been evaluating my living space needs because I'm running out of storage really fast. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Kenny. This is Sagebrush Soul, and may the best of your past be the worst of your future.